I thought we were pretty good through two periods, controlling the game, a lot of scoring chances, probably more scoring chances than we created in the last three games through two periods. Just, their goalie was playing great. We had 24 shots on goal. We had, I think, 15 scoring chances in two periods, and their goalie was making a lot of saves, and that happens some nights. And so I felt real good heading into the third, but then they made two plays real quick, and all of a sudden you're down 3-1 with 16 minutes to go or something like that. And we kind of felt tired. We're short lineup right now. We're banged up, and so a lot of guys are playing a lot of minutes, and just didn't feel like we had a ton of jump left. And so it was real important that other guys stepped up, and they did. That's Kenny Gillespie and Jesper Orville stepped up and made some real big plays. And Jesper made a real high-end play to set up Kenny's goal. And then Zach Schrader scored, and that was really created by Kenny again, who had just a great screen on both of the goals there. So, I thought it was important to a lot of guys like Riley and Jake Wood and Prapavestis, and our guys a lot of times seem to be in the offense for us. We're probably a little fatigued from a lot of minutes this weekend, and that was important that other guys stepped up.
Let's go back a little bit to that Yale game, and I really can't play well all weekend, but especially in that Yale game where really the shots were so skewed in favor of them and not you guys. A freshman goalie kind of filling in the role of Jason Kastorf, one of the best in the country. How impressed were you with him?
Yeah, he's been very good. His play has been very good. I think what I'm probably the most impressed with is his demeanor. He's been very coachable. And in junior hockey, he was athletic, competitive, but a little helter-skelter. Made the game a little hard on himself at times. And I thought what he's really done well early in his career here is he's bought into being a calming presence for us, which I think all great goalies are for their teams. And he's been in some tough spots, right? With hard games. His first three games are against ranked national teams. On the road last weekend against Yale this weekend. All four of the games he's played in have been in overtime. And he's been real unflappable and really given us a nice calm demeanor back there. And in that Yale game, he was particularly good. And I thought our defense did a good job of not allowing a ton of second chances and trying to keep Yale, who had a lot of offense that night, to at least only one chance for most of their offensive opportunities.
What does it do in the locker room and around this team when you do have, an unbeaten streak going?
Well, certainly, when you're winning or playing well, coming to the rink is more fun and it's more exciting and all the team meetings are better and things like that. And I think it's really important, though, when you're playing well to learn. That we've been saying all year we want to stick to our process. We're not a great team right now. We want to become a great team by January, February, March, and April. And we have to work every day mentally and physically to get to that spot. And you always learn from your losses, but you also need to learn from your wins and things we're not doing that well. And so I think it's important to not get complacent, to really dissect your wins or your ties and when you're playing good and look for areas to clean up. And I think probably the biggest area for us is penalties. We're taking too many penalties right now, and there's too many penalties at inopportune times. And I can sit guys for those things and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, the best teams, they don't do it for playing time. They do it because they love their teammates. And this team's doing a lot of great things that show that they're playing for each other, blocking shots, taking hits to make plays, taking secondary roles to help the team, things like that. This is an area now that we need to clean up and we need to be more disciplined because we're putting our team in too many vulnerable situations.
Players oftentimes take penalties for very different reasons. Is it because they are fatigued, or is it because they're just sometimes they're retaliatory penalties or whatever?
Yeah, some penalties happen, and there's going to be penalties in a game. I mean, you're going to have 2 or 3 power plays against in the course of a hockey game just because a guy beat you and he's about to score a goal and you have to trip him or pull him down or whatever that is. Sometimes you get called for hitting a big hit, but it's a clean hit is sometimes called a boarding, and those are okay. but took some penalties 200 feet away from our net. Those aren't acceptable penalties. We've taken a couple penalties after the whistle. Those aren't acceptable penalties. And then we've taken a couple penalties late in games or in overtime. And we're just trying to create a culture in that room that we do things for each other. And teams that really love each other and play for each other don't take those types of penalties. Some penalties are okay, but we're taking some that are. It's forcing guys like Zach Schrader and Chris Bradley and Mark Miller and Louis Nanny and Mike Papravessis, guys that don't take a lot of penalties. It's forcing those guys to be on the ice a lot and to block a lot of shots, and that's asking too much of their teammates. And so we got to clean that up.
When you head now, you guys were used to playing a lot of divisional games right in a row now, or conference games. Now you're heading out of conference for a couple weeks. Is the approach any different? You would say no, typically, but I mean, as far as importance is concerned, the conference is the most important. So, especially with guys being tired and whatnot, how do you approach a team like Bentley?
Well, first of all, they came in here and beat us twice last year. So I know personally, I've had this game circled on my calendar since October of last year because. They came in and beat us twice and played really good, and we didn't play as good as we'd like. They got a really good team. They've swept Northeastern this year. They just swept at RIT. They're going to be a team that is in contention to make the national tournament out of their league. They got a real nice hockey team. So at the end of the year, this is going to be a big game. They're going to win 20-plus games, and it's going to be a hard game to play. And we're on the road against another really good hockey team. So my approach isn't going to change. I think all the games are the most important thing is the thing in front of you. So that starts with Tuesday's practice, but then it goes to Friday's game. And so I think that great teams have that mentality, and they don't look too far ahead, and they stay focused on the process and on the present. So, that's what we're trying to do, and we know that our guys in that room, they've set strong goals for themselves, and they've set a non-conference goal, and we had a tough non-conference schedule, and we didn't have a great non-conference record in that schedule. So to achieve some of the goals that they've set for that. We're going to need to take care of business on Friday night.
Last